What's going on? This is your man Jose, aka the Dominican Dream, alongside
The Maniac.
for the Boxing Roundtable, and we are ready to talk boxing.
Boxing.
Big weekend of boxing. Um, Everybody wants to hear the prediction. Everybody wants to know what we think. So we're gonna give it to him, man. Canelo Alvarez versus Terrence Crawford going down Saturday night. Free on Netflix. Free, of course, if you have a Netflix membership or subscription. Look, man. Look, I remember when Manny Pacquiao was gonna fight again. I remember your feeling, your sentiment about that fight. Manny versus Mario Barrios. Manny coming back at 46 years old, and I was excited because it's the greatness of Manny Pacquiao, how great he's been, all time great, and I feel like he's one of those guys that could defy time and somewhat, but he's not exempt because no one is. But you weren't very excited because you kind of thought of it as if almost a fiasco. Why is he coming back? He's 46. He don't need to fight. I don't want to see it. Well, look, I understand that Terrence Crawford is a real fighter. I understand that Canelo Alvarez is a real fighter, both elite fighters. But me, honestly speaking, I want everybody to understand this is a fantasy fight. This is a fantasy matchup. Just like Rigondeaux versus Lomachenko was a fantasy matchup. Two-time gold medalists fighting each other in two totally different weight classes. It was a fantasy. There's another fight or exhibition coming up, and I'm gonna liken this to that because it's not much different. The only difference is that here is two real fighters, but Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis. If you know boxing, if you know combat sports, if you know weight classes, this is almost another fiasco, another show. You got a guy, Terrence Crawford, started off his career maybe 130, 135, 140, 147. One fight at 154. One fight at 154. Didn't look impressive. Now he's going to move up not to 160. He's not going to fight anybody else at 154. One fight at 154 and straight to 168 to fight. Yes, one of the maybe perhaps the smallest 168 pounder. And he figures, my styles make fights, but he's also it's almost like a paradox. He's the smallest 168 pounder, but he's also the hardest hitting 168 pounder. And he's also, now that Benavidez left the division and Morrell, he's by far the best fighter at 168 pounds. And he's actually the younger fighter. So I'm not excited for it. I want it to be done and over with. I know people are excited, and we're gonna break it down. We're gonna break it down. But before I get any further, given my thoughts and my opinion, tell us what you think about the fight.
Yeah. So to kind of, go off what you were saying, I mean, I feel the same sentiment when it comes to this fight. People, oh, it's a mega fight. I don't see it as a mega fight. Now, by it, these are two first ballot Hall of Famers, future um Hall of Famers, first ballot Hall of Famers, and Bud Crawford and Canelo. Canelo 63 2-2 with 39 night quills. Crawford 41 and 0 with 31 night quills. Crawford going for a record, three-time undisputed in the four belt era. Right. So there's a lot on the line just for Crawford mainly. Canelo, he's the face of boxing. He has the best resume, the most experience. He's just fought just about everybody in boxing. Yes, without a doubt, you're right. This is a fantasy fight. Whether people want to accept it or not, this is what you speak about on the corner, in the barbershop, in your man's living room, and in the chat with your boys. Yo, what do you think if Crawford fought Canelo? Yes, we will say that, but we're talking about if they were both naturally at the same weight class. Yes, then it makes for a more exciting fight, a more exciting conversation. But in these fights, and we're gonna give you examples. Normally, the guy that moves up 2 weight classes, it doesn't end well for them. And on top of this being at 168, Dream, they fighting at the limit of 168. This is not a catch weight, 165, it's the limit of 168. And on top of that, there's no rehydration clause. So Canelo will be able to come in the weight he feels most comfortable at, which could be around, I'm going to say about 180, 185. But as far as the fight goes, right? This is the number one question. What is going to be Crawford's approach in this one, guys? Right? He's not gonna stand in front of Canelo. He's gonna have to shoot from the window. He can't come outside and shoot him from close range. He has to shoot from the window. And what I mean, he has to shoot from the window. He has to use distance. He got to use his long jab and his athletic ability that he has. The only thing to me he probably has over Canelo, and footwork as well. He's going to have to, but the problem is he's going to have to pump that jab a lot, Dream, and he's going to have to be active, not only with his hands, but moving. He's going to have to use a lot. Canelo's going to make sure that Crawford's using a lot of energy in that ring. And at that weight, putting on that weight, it's going to show. It slows you down. I don't care what anybody tells me. Yes, Crawford is a great fighter, but in the words of you, Dream, he's not Superman. He's just not.
Superman doesn't exist, is what I say.
There you go. Superman doesn't exist. Those are the exact words. So Crawford, don't get me wrong, he can win this fight. I want to be clear. He can win this fight. There's no doubt about it. I'm not saying he has zero chance.
Let me interject, and it's gonna take 30 seconds before anyone says, you know what, I'm gonna go on to the next video. You know, these guys, these dudes, these motherfuckers are Spanish. Of course, they're gonna say this, that, or the third. We are, especially me, by no means Canelo fans, especially me. I've been a Canelo detractor for most of his career.
Absolutely.
Sean is not either, you know, he respects Canelo, Maniac, but he's not either hot or cold when it comes to him. I'm not a Canelo fan. I'm also not a big Terence Crawford fan. You're a bigger Terence Crawford fan than I am. And I, based on resume, based on style, based on what he's done, who he's done it to, and when he's done it to them, I respect him. I think he's a very good fighter. He's good. And Canelo, as much as I may have been a detractor of him, he's also a very good fighter. So don't, unfortunately, you know, as you mentioned to me many times throughout this build-up, this is a racially charged fight.
Absolutely.
Right?
This is bringing out the ugly of the fan. A lot of ugly.
And particularly is bringing that out from the African American community, because Latinos, yeah, Mexicans are gonna root for Canelo, but a lot of other Latinos, they probably pick Crawford too, and they like Crawford, and I know many, but I don't know what it is. I understand, root for your own. That's all love. That's what's up. And just so you guys understand, we are not taking away nothing from Crawford because he's African American, or nothing from Canelo because he's Mexican. So let's just be clear with that. But go ahead, Sean.
Yeah. And listen, if they can't understand that, that's on them. You listen to the video. We just talking boxing here. We're talking about based on what we've seen, and we the unknown is Crawford at 168. Who here have seen Crawford fight at 168? Nobody. Now, if this fighter was at 154, I would favor Crawford. I mean, slightly. People got to stop acting like he's a miles much better than Canelo. That's not the case. I think where people, get that notion is that Crawford, one thing he's a killer. Once Crawford got you hurt, it's over. To me, he is the number one finisher in boxing. It can't be debated. You got Bam, you got Inoue, you got Benavidez. These guys are A1 finishers. But to me, Crawford is a hell of a finisher. To me, again, me personally, he's the number one finisher. But there's no way in this fight that he's going to stop Canelo. Absolutely not. Now, can he stun Canelo? Of course he can. I'm not saying he can't because he got skill and he's been in there with good fighters.
Yeah,
But
not at
the
this,
problem,
not at this way. He can't, in my opinion. He can't
correct.
stun Canelo.
So for him, in order for him to win this fight, he's gonna have to play it safe and he's gonna have to fight at a distance, right? Now that could bode bad for him because if he's fighting at a distance, he's not gonna really be that active. Hence that he might not even get the decision. Because to me, this is gonna go decision. Canelo's not gonna even stop Crawford. I don't think he's going to be active enough. He's going to be more on the retreat, more on the back foot, looking ways to get out the way because once Canelo lands on him, he's going to understand that, oh, shit, this is what they was talking about. I'm just talking about weight class. Again, if they fought at a weight class where they were both comfortable, I would like Crawford in that fight. But at this weight class, man, it'd be almost criminal to pick Crawford. And I think people are looking at that Spence fight, which was a hell of a performance. But again, even me and you went back and forth. I said, it's not Crawford's fault, which is not. But at the same time, guys, and let's be real, let's not act like that was the Spence that beat Ugas. Let's not act like that was the Spence that beat Danny Garcia. That was not that Spence. Now, again, it's not his fault. But the bottom line is this.
So again, you taking it to that fight, and all we have to do if someone wants to argue that, oh, well, why are you saying he's not the same fighter? I'm not even going to get into the specifics. I've gotten into it in videos in the past. But okay, then let's go to his most recent fight. His most recent fight was when he went up one weight class, 7 pounds to 154 pounds to fight a guy with 11 or 10 professional fights. And it was a very competitive fight. It was a fight that if you're a Madrimov fan, if you're over there from Uzbekistan, we had a guy commented on here, thought he won. And, let's not act like that's crazy or far-fetched. I think Crawford won 7-5 kind of fight.
Yeah.
But it was a very competitive fight. It was a fight in which Crawford didn't shine. And yes, it was partly because of the weight. Because he went up to a new weight class. He fought a bigger guy, a stronger guy. Yes, he has a herky-jerky style, a lot of movement, a lot of, an extensive amateur background. But that's amateur. We respect it. But this is professional. Keep in mind that Crawford had a little mouse under one of his eyes early in the fight. Keep in mind that Crawford was weary of the punches coming from Madrimov because he's a big boy who can punch. And keep in mind that Madrimov is not a pressure fighter and he's not a volume fighter.
Yeah.
Canelo's not a volume puncher either, but he can put on pressure because he did it to Munguia, he did it to Berlanga, he did it to Charlo, he did it to Billy Joe. He can put pressure on. He's not the best at cutting off the ring, but he can put pressure on you. So when you got a guy at 154 that Bud is respecting, he respected Madrimov. Make no mistake about it. So do you think if he goes up one weight class to fight the best guy at 160, he won't respect him? So do you think if he goes up 168, 14 more pounds, he's going to be able to do what he wants to forget Canelo? Anybody at 168. He can fight a bum at 160. He can fight Berlanga at 168, and I'm going to favor Berlanga. Because he's too fucking big. He's too big. And stylistically, yes, Berlanga might be too big for Crawford. Crawford is 100 times better than Berlanga, but this shit matters. Canelo favors him more a little bit, and he understands that because he is a smaller 168. So he can dance with him a little bit, or he thinks. And again, the reason I'm bringing it up is because you said something. You said, "Oh, when he feels Canelo's punch." I'm gonna go even a step further. Sean, he's not even gonna have to feel Canelo's punch because Jamel Charlo didn't need to feel Canelo's punch. You know what he saw? Even though he was the guy with the bigger frame, the taller man, a guy who could probably really fight at 168 and could probably do that weight more comfortably, and make no mistake about it, Jamel Charlo is a terrific fighter.
Absolutely.
A terrific fighter.
Pound for pound kind of fighter.
A terrific fighter. A fighter that in his prime active, if Bud would have went up there to 154, I'd have picked Charlo. I'm talking about prime, when he was doing his thing. And before Canelo even threw a punch, he was intimidated. I don't think he was intimidated by the name or the spectacle. And that could have been a little bit of it too. I think he was intimidated by the mass of Canelo. Looking at his shoulders, looking at his arms, looking at how he moves in the ring, looking at his confidence. From the moment that bell rang, the confidence was sucked out of Jamel Charlo. And then when Canelo did throw punches and land them, even when they were landing on the gloves, on the forearm, Charlo was like, "Oh shit." And that's exactly what's going to happen in this fight as well.
No, that's what should happen, right? That's what should happen. Kind of want to play both parts on if Canelo loses, right? If Canelo was to lose this fight, it would be because you mentioned it. You mentioned it many times. It's because he lost it. He's absolutely done. And I know people will be like, "What do you mean?" Guys, yeah, we can't be fanboys, bro. Y'all can't be fanboys. And like Dream said,
let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
You being a regular, and you're not a regular fan. You're a diehard fan. You're a boxing analyst, and you're a boxing expert. And I can attest to that. At 168 pounds, right now, and we already okay. Let's go through past opponents and current fighters right now at 168 pounds. Berlanga, Munguia, Billy Joe. Even though I don't think that was at 168. The guys that Canelo's fought at once. Let's say Berlanga, Munguia, and anybody else. Who's another terrific fighter right now at 168, or another good fighter? Before we get into that, my question is: at 168 pounds, or even 160, who would you favor to beat Canelo Alvarez right now?
Nobody. No, yeah. Now 160, 168. No, nobody.
So let's be logical about it then. Like you said, he's supposed to. Yes, because we're talking. Understand, guys, we're coming at you with logic, with boxing logic, with sports logic. Forget sports, specifically boxing, because I only watch boxing. I'm a diehard boxing fan. I used to compete in wrestling. Weight classes matter. And not only do they matter as far as who can win and who can lose, it's also potentially dangerous.
Yeah. Let's give examples.
Let's not forget when, and I was rooting for him. I don't think I picked him, but I was rooting for him. When Kell Brook jumped up from 147 to 160 to fight Gennady Golovkin.
Who was on the current 22 fight knockout streak.
And Kell Brook, made no mistake about it, he has a larger, a wider physique. He can put on those 160 pounds. He can go up in weight easier than Crawford can. Oh, what you mean? But Crawford beat him. You're saying that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Crawford beat him when he was done at the end of his career, after all of this stuff that we're going to tell you happened to him. He went up to 147 and he had to 160. He had success in the fight. He had the crowd roaring and he was landing punches and woo ah. And I was wondering, oh shit, oh you see, Golovkin's not that good. So I come fifth, sixth round. That's when the weight factor showed up. And not only was Gennady able to take Kell Brook's punches and come back, but he was able to not only hurt Kell Brook, but hurt him permanently. In the fifth or sixth round, which is when about weight classes start to show up, because I know first, second, third, fourth round. Oh, see, he cooked again. He outboxed him. Yeah, okay, that's nice. That's nice. Amir Khan was doing the same thing. Kell Brook was doing the same thing to Gennady Golovkin. But we understand, us that know boxing, that from the fifth or sixth round on, that's when the weight shows up. Gennady not only came back and beat Kell Brook, but he broke his orbital bone. Kell Brook was never the same after that. Kell Brook then immediately, like a madman, after that, fought Errol Spence Jr. at 147 pounds. Errol Spence broke his other eye socket. Oh, it's not the same eye socket. Well, I'm no doctor, but I'm assuming already being compromised, this side was already weaker. Because remember, your skull is together. Everything is. We saw Mikey Garcia. That's one example that I'm giving you. So Kell Brook not only lost, but he got injured physically. A very bad injury for boxers when you break your orbital bone. We also saw Mikey Garcia, who we respect. For some reason, he kept out calling Errol Spence when he was at 135 pounds. And I'm like, yo, Mike, I love a fighter with that got balls and heart and he's willing to challenge himself. But there's the difference between having balls and heart and being a little crazy or doing something that you shouldn't do. Why the fuck was Mikey Garcia calling out Errol Spence Jr. at 147? I had no clue why. I see something. Okay, he finally got the fight. He didn't win a round. And if he won a round, it was maybe round one. And Errol said it that he chose to box Mikey because people thought that he couldn't box. And after that, Errol was like, yo, this shit was boring. I'm going back to bulldozer. Jermell Charlo. His brother pulls out of the fight with Canelo. He has issues that he's going through in his life. Jermell fills in. Jermell's a big boy. Mel's 6 feet, maybe 6'1". His frame, obviously, he can fight at 160 or even 168, no problem, if he wanted to, with time. We already spoke about what happened to him.
Yeah.
Other examples. Again, we also had Rigondeaux go up 2 weight classes to fight Lomachenko. Remember, these weight classes down there are closer in weight than the ones that Crawford and Canelo are fighting at, because he's going up 14 after just coming up 7. So this is basically 21 pounds, because he hasn't really gotten acclimated to 154. So this is basically 21 pounds. So Rigondeaux goes in there against Lomachenko, and Lomachenko he's not a guy that's gonna destroy you. He can, but we know he has an amateur background. He likes to, do those pretty moves, footwork, outbox you, put on kind of a show of athleticism and skill. He's not really a seek and destroy kind of guy. And Rigondeaux, who's a phenomenal fighter, very good defensively, he quit on the stool. Said his hand hurt or whatever. We know he hit his hand, and we don't know nothing was wrong with his hand. He quit because he realized I have no business in the ring with this guy in this weight class. And Lomachenko, after he won, they asked him, what do you think? What does this say? What does this fight prove? And he said, listen, this nothing. Nothing. This is he's 2 weight classes below me. He's not gonna come up here and beat me. He's not gonna do that because Lomachenko was a elite fighter, spectacular fighter. So was Canelo Alvarez. People are still high and drunk off that Spence victory. A dead Spence, a Spence that went down with a jab, a Spence whose face got swollen from every punch he got hit with. A Spence that hasn't fought since 2 years later.
Still hasn't fought at all. Yeah, that's crazy.
So, and that wasn't Crawford's last fight. He had a fight after that at 154 pounds. And he didn't impress anybody. He didn't impress anybody. Me looking at the fight, I'm looking at it and I'm saying, yeah, Crawford is he's a real good fighter. I'm looking at it. I could see his talent and his skill when he was fighting Madrimov. But to impress, he didn't impress anybody at 154 pounds. If anything, they looked at him like, ooh, I like that. You know what? I want that fight next. I want that Crawford fight. I want that Crawford opportunity. You're talking about guys like Fundora, 6'5", seek and destroy kind of motherfucker. Could take a punch, could give a punch, has volume, has skill, has stamina. You telling me people are acting like Crawford would just walk through him? He didn't walk through Madrimov, man. He ain't gonna walk through Fundora. And Fundora is taller than Canelo, but he's not bigger than Canelo. Weight-wise, because boxing is not height classes, it's weight classes. I want everybody to understand that.
Yeah. No, I mean, phenomenal point, man. And that's logic. We bring in it's not we analyzing it and it's broken down to you just to tell you. Now again, I want to be clear that I know there's still a window of opportunity where Bud could take advantage and win this fight. I want to be clear, but I don't see it. And if I'm wrong, I'll be here and admit that I was wrong.
Look,
It
look.
won't be it won't be my first time and it won't be my last.
Well,
Look,
somebody just won the Powerball. You got a chance, yo. You would have had a chance to win it, but you know what those odds would have been like, right? Because those odds, Sean, are reality. Those numbers are reality, and what we're talking to you about is reality. Not only can Crawford lose, most likely, most likely, but he can also be injured, broken orbital bone, broken jaw, broken ribs, because these guys got a different bone density, man. These ain't the same kind of human beings, man. Human beings some human beings are larger than others. Different bone structure, man. This shit is real. Weight classes are real, and that's why there's weight classes in boxing, and that's why you must respect them. Right? I understand Turkey wanted to make the fight. He has the money to make any fight that he wants. And this is proof of it. But let's remember when that fight was first offered to Canelo, Canelo scoffed at it. He said, "Nah, I ain't for what? That's stupid. I'm not gonna fight for what? What would you for what? What is that gonna prove? That fight doesn't make any sense."
does
Okay, so they kept, they kept throwing that fighter, talking about that fight, talking about that. Now Turkey comes and says, "Yo, I'm gonna give you 100. You gonna take it? You want to give me 100 million to fight the guy 2 weight classes? All right, but I'm not with. All right, that's what you want to do. Give me that money. Canelo's a businessman at the end of the day, and a good one. So of course
yeah.
he's gonna take that money, But honestly, unless something's completely wrong with him, on crack in the hospital,
Yeah.
or on an IV for 48 hours before the fight, he's not gonna lose to Terence Crawford or to anybody coming up from only one fighter at 154 pounds, and that is what it is.
All right. Yeah, man. Look, I'm gonna close on this. Canelo from the beginning should press the issue. That's me. outwork him, make him work that weight, make him tire early. Press, press. Yeah, he's gonna take some shots, but he's gonna eat that. And eventually, once he get close and land those punches, make those deposits, they're gonna pay off later in the fight. It could get ugly. Crawford, if someone is gonna get knocked out, it's Crawford. Canelo's not getting stopped, guys. It's not gonna happen unless Canelo swings and he separates his shoulder and he says he can't fight. That's the only way that's gonna happen. Crawford, like I said, his only chance of winning this fight, his only chance of winning this fight is playing it safe from a distance, stab, jab, doubling the jab, and moving. But again, at this weight class, how agile he's gonna be, how much stamina he's gonna have. I just don't see him being consistent for the entirety of 12 rounds. Hence why I'm going Canelo by decision, 8-4, at worst 7-5, but it should be an 8-4, 9-3 kind of fight. Canelo.
And the reason I'm gonna go ahead and pick Canelo by decision as well is because his work ethic in the ring. He's a flat-footed, lazy fighter. Especially to be that elite and to be that, powerful and fast-handed, because they make no mistake about it. If you compare, again, like you said, people act like, I don't know, like Terrence is light years better than Canelo. No. These guys are evenly matched. They have different they got a different set of skills, but they're equally matched. Because when you go down the line of what each guy has, if you go and say something like speed, I got to give it to Canelo. Canelo has a faster hands. Crawford is not a speedster. Yeah, he's a quick fighter, but he ain't no Sugar Shane Mosley in his prime. Macho Kama. He's not that kind of, he's an accurate guy. He's a sniper. He's good in exchanging. But Canelo has one of the fastest hands in boxing. He's a very fast fighter. He'll catch you without. If you go chin, we got to give that to Canelo as well.
Well, he has one of the greatest of all time, Chin.
You can't hurt the motherfucker. You can't hurt her. We seen Bud not only hurt, we also seen him drop at lower weight classes. Let's not forget about Kyle Velasquez when he dropped it. And even Bradley said it. Bradley, we know he loves Crawford, and he said that's a knockdown.
Yeah, and for the record, we know it wasn't count as an official knockdown, but anyone who's seen it, same way we know Zab Judah dropped Floyd Mayweather in that fight. They just didn't call it.
And we also saw Gamboa rocking him and throwing him, and Gamboa was a little guy who was a guy that's to fight at 126 and then went up to 135, and he got cooked. Why? Because weight classes matter. He wasn't a natural 35-pounder. Just like Bud ain't a natural 160 or 168 pounder. He's barely a 54, and he's pushing it at 54. So going down that skill for skill, chin Canelo, speed Canelo. When it comes to power, Canelo. When it comes to ring IQ, people are gonna say Crawford. I'm gonna say that Crawford has more athleticism.
Yes, he does. Well, hands down.
But is he the smarter fighter? Perhaps, because Canelo is not the smartest fighter. But if you look at his fights, he's not a dummy either, and not because he has a high IQ, but because of his experience. So let's give IQ to Crawford.
Footwork, Crawford.
Stamina, Crawford.
Yeah.
Size, Canelo, which is a factor. Because whenever you see the tail of the tape, they're gonna say, "Oh, 3-reach advantage, 3-inch advantage." Canelo has that girth and weight, size, bone density advantage. So this ain't no blowout. It ain't like in every category, but if you saying that you just a fanboy, you still living off that Spence fight dream, you bugging.
And another thing, lack of activity. This guy Crawford is not an
Mm,
active fighter, man.
mm, Also, another going down the line. High big fight experience
It's not
under
even up
the
for the
under the bright lights. This motherfucker Canelo had already fucking like 20 bangers, 20 pay-per-view, all time, all kinds of shit. Spectacle. He lives in that. He lives in that. Canelo walks outside, motherfuckers taking pictures of him every day. Guess what? Crawford could go to Walmart and a lot of people might not even know who he is.
That's
This is
true.
going this is going to be different. The lights is going to be brighter than ever. So when you look at everything, man, tangibles and intangibles, if anybody thinks it's a blowout, and you know what's really sad, Sean, that you got professional fighters, professional analysts, you got everybody drinking the Kool-Aid. People have put logic aside when it comes to this fight. We're talking logic here. If Crawford wins, that's logically not what was supposed to happen. He's not supposed to take Canelo's punch. He's not supposed to outbox Canelo at that weight. It's dangerous. If that wins, like even Paulie said it before, even if you picked a certain guy because you thought you still didn't know shit because that shit wasn't supposed to happen. But give us your closing thoughts, man.
Yeah, man. So closing it out, man. First of all, shout to everybody. The message with me and Dream here on the Boxing Round Table, man. If you haven't, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Again, I'm not excited as a lot of you are. A lot of you are very excited for this fight. Me and Dream been very adamant that we're not. Again, I enjoy watching both fighters, but I didn't want to see them fight at this weight class. So, hey, look.
Yo,
It
Shane.
is what it is. It's boxing going on Saturday. I'll be watching, and at least at worst, hopefully we get a good fight out of this, which I doubt we do. I think it's going to be a dud. You mentioned it. It's going to be a boring fight. I'm going to lean towards that. I think it's just going to be an average fight. Some counter punching here and there, some oohs, some ahs, but nothing over the top. And I think, Canelo gets it done. But I think Crawford is going to be winning early. And like you said, once the middle rounds come, it's going to be a wrap for him, and Canelo going to cook, and he's going to win via decision.
Yeah, most likely, and I say he's gonna win via decision because I don't think Canelo's an all-time great. If he was an all-time great like Cesar Chavez, um,
Marquez,
Salvador Sanchez, Marquez, even Oscar De La Hoya, who was a terrific finisher, these guys aren't there to play with you. They weren't there to play with you. If the opportunity was there, the window was there, gone. Canelo doesn't have that. Canelo knocks you down. He doesn't go after you after he knocks you down. He doesn't have that kind of that finisher
yeah.
mentality, or let's not say mentality, but he doesn't have that. That's not in
And
his DNA. He doesn't have that. That's not in his DNA as a fighter. Canelo is a really, really, really strong, fast-handed, flat-footed, but fast-handed counter punch. And sometimes he does put pressure on. He's able to do it. But if he was an all-time great, I would absolutely have him stopping Terrence Crawford, because all he has to do to stop Terrence Crawford is walk him down with a jab, go to the body, and then go back up top, take him out. Because he's not gonna give you something to think about, and he's not gonna take what you giving him. But since Canelo is a more of a complacent fighter, more of a guy he's okay with just winning, hurting you, but just winning. I'm gonna go with Canelo by decision as well, and expect another Charlo Canelo type fight. If you expecting fireworks, yeah, there might be a little more than we think, but if it goes into crazy fireworks, then Bud definitely get knocked out, because crazy fireworks mean that they both exchanging and they banging out. And honestly, nobody exchanges with Canelo Alvarez. The only guy that did that was perhaps Gennady Golovkin.
he did it, and he did it not much.
Not much, and they were even weight. And Gennady Golovkin was this monster
Killer.
that was knocking everybody out. But anyway, man, look forward to the post fight show, and maybe
Yeah.
even another show before that, because I know a lot of people want to talk this subject, man. Share, like, and subscribe. You guys already know, man.